For centuries, the concept of money has served as the foundation of trade, commerce, and economic development. Its role in society has changed dramatically over time, adapting to the evolving needs and challenges of each era. To understand how our current monetary systems came to be, it's important to look back at one of the most significant chapters in financial history, the era of the gold standard. The gold standard was a monetary system in which the value of a country's currency was directly tied to a specific amount of gold. Each paper note or coin represented a claim on a fixed quantity of gold held in reserve by the government or central bank. This system was intended to provide a solid foundation for the world's economies, instilling trust and confidence in currency. The logic was simple. If money could always be exchanged for gold, people would be assured that the currency had real, tangible value. This promise of convertibility acted as a powerful brake on governments, preventing them from printing an unlimited supply of money and thereby curbing the risk of runaway inflation. The origins of the gold standard date back to the early 19th century, although gold had been used as money for thousands of years prior. In 1821, the United Kingdom became the first major country to officially adopt the gold standard. Other nations soon followed, and by the late 19th century, most of the world's leading economies were linked together in a global system based on gold. This created a period of remarkable stability in international trade and finance. Exchange rates were fixed, and the value of currencies was transparent and predictable. Businesses and investors could transact across borders with confidence, knowing that the value of their money was backed by the enduring worth of gold. Yet, the gold standard was not without its challenges. While it imposed discipline on governments, it also limited their flexibility. In times of crisis, such as wars or economic downturns, countries often found it difficult to respond effectively. To finance major expenditures, governments sometimes suspended the gold standard, allowing them to print more money as needed. After the crisis passed, they would attempt to return to the previous gold parity, but this was often easier said than done. The First World War marked a turning point. Faced with the enormous costs of war, many nations abandoned the gold standard, flooding their economies with paper money to fund military operations. After the war, a number of countries tried to restore the gold standard, but the global economic landscape had changed. The interwar years were marked by financial instability, competitive devaluations, and a series of banking crises. The Great Depression of the 1930s exposed the limitations of the gold standard even further. As economies contracted and unemployment soared, the rigidity of the system prevented governments from taking aggressive action to stimulate growth. Eventually, one by one, countries abandoned the gold standard in favor of more flexible monetary systems. The final chapter of the gold standard began after the Second World War, with the establishment of the Bretton Woods system in 1944. Under this arrangement, the US dollar was pegged to gold at a fixed rate, while other currencies were in turn tied to the dollar. This created a new kind of gold-based system designed to promote international stability and prevent the kind of economic chaos that had plagued the interwar years. For a time, the Bretton Woods system worked. But as the world economy grew and international trade expanded, the amount of dollars in circulation far outstripped the U.S. government's gold reserves. Eventually, it became clear that the system was unsustainable. In 1971, President Richard Nixon announced that the United States would no longer convert dollars into gold at a fixed rate, effectively bringing the Bretton Woods system and the era of the gold standard to an end. This pivotal moment ushered in the age of fiat money. Unlike currencies backed by gold, fiat money is not tied to any physical commodity. Its value is derived from the trust and confidence of the people who use it, and from the policies of the governments and central banks that issue it. The move away from the gold standard gave governments and central banks greater freedom to manage their economies. They could adjust interest rates, control the money supply, and respond to financial crises with a range of policy tools that were simply not available under the gold standard. This flexibility has allowed modern economies to weather storms and adapt to changing circumstances. However, it has also introduced new risks. Without the discipline imposed by gold, there is always the temptation for governments to print too much money, potentially leading to inflation or even hyperinflation. The legacy of the gold standard continues to shape our thinking about money today. For some, the era of gold-backed currencies represents a lost age of stability and discipline. For others, it is a reminder of the dangers of rigid systems that cannot adapt to the complexities of a modern, interconnected world. The debate over the merits of the gold standard versus fiat money remains alive, particularly during times of economic uncertainty. Gold itself continues to play a role as a store of value and a hedge against inflation, even though it no longer forms the backbone of the world's monetary system. In the final analysis, the abandonment of the gold standard marked a profound shift in the way societies think about money. Where once the value of currency was measured by the weight of precious metal it could claim, today it is determined by faith in institutions, by economic productivity, and by the collective confidence of billions of people around the world. The story of money is far from over. As new technologies emerge and the global economy continues to evolve, questions about the nature and future of money will remain at the forefront of economic debate. But the lessons of the gold standard remind us that every system has its strengths and weaknesses, and that the search for stability, trust, and prosperity is a challenge that each generation must face anew.